Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the J Talks, today's relationship show. All right, you got yours truly, Jay and Ricky Rick, up in the house. We holding down the force, the men. All right, what's up, Rick?
All right. Hey, everything's good. How you doing, Jay?
All right. Yep. All right, it's just the men today. We're gonna say a special prayer for our Lady K, who today had to be rushed to the hospital due to some sickness that she's enduring at the moment. All right, and we just those that are watching, we just want to take a minute just to say in silence just for a second, just for um, meditation for her. All right. All right. Well, today we have a show that's on, and you know what? Since this title is on point, I guess it is more better for us to hold it down than the women to jump in. But we do honor the women's point of view on this topic, and today's topic is the challenges of raising boys into men in today's society, or raising boys into a man. All right. They're raising boys. We see our boys as they're growing up. They tend to, their teenage, and even when they are at an age where they should be calling themselves men, we're seeing today that they are not men. They may be grown, but that doesn't necessarily make them a man. I don't know what you think about that, Rick.
Well, Jay, I think you're right. I think today in our society that a lot of our young men are not mature enough. And then a lot of our young men are being led by other devices in the world. They're choosing the wrong role model. The father or the dad or the head of the household, the man, is not held in a high enough esteem for the young man. His job doesn't impress the young man, perhaps, because the young men of the world today, they want flashy and gold and diamonds and fancy car. And if the man doesn't have that, Jeff, that's a struggle to be the head of your house. It can be I guess you would say the example of a man to your young boy, to your young son.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ricky Ray. Yeah, I see a lot of boys, and they don't have an example of what it takes to be a man. Now, I mean, you could look at males all day. You see males in the school, you see males in the workforce, you see males everywhere around you. But what it takes to actually be a man, they are males because that's what the gender that's what they were born with the male body parts. Speaking of that, the when I said body parts, it just took me to the thought about the Bruce Jenner going through his transformation to be so he could be called a woman, a transgender woman. and
Yeah.
and that just because you know, like I said, you can see males all day because that's what the gender of your body parts you were born with, and just because you were born with those body parts, and just because you are fortunate enough to spend all kinds of money to change your body parts does not take you away from being what you were born, and you're still a male. I don't care how you want to classify yourself, you know, but you're still a male, and uh, you know, it's just I mean, you if somebody could genetically change a Great Dane into a Chihuahua, uh, you know,
Oh yeah.
genetically,
Yeah.
I mean, still on the inside of that Chihuahua is still gonna have a Great Dane's mind.
Right. Right.
And uh, you know, no, just because the Great Dane just wanna be a little bitty old short little thing, because I don't know, because he finds out and sees that maybe he doesn't like being so big, he can't get so much attention. You know, the little cuddly dogs, everybody want to just hold them in their lap and everything. Can't hold no Great Dane in their lap, but I'm just saying that just because, you know, that for some reason they're looking at what the other has and what the other is getting, that they want to genetically change what they are so that they can fit and receive what the other getting, like I'm saying Bruce Jenner and any of those sexuals or transgenders trying to be working hard to be a female, because they look at what, you know, females do, what they receive, the kind of attention, all that stuff that go along with being a female. So they go and try to make that change, but regardless, there's still that implantation of the brain, because women and men think from the different sides of the brain. They pull from different sides of the brain more than the other, and that still exists because you're still going to have a male way of thinking. Regardless, you may be in a female body, but you're still going to have a male way of thinking.
Yeah, you're right, Jay. That never changes.
Yeah.
You can change the body parts all day,
Hmm.
but you're right. You still gonna think and act like a man, even though you're trying to imitate a woman.
Right. Hmm.
You know, I was listening to you, and your point that you made me think about uh, some analogies of what a man is called before he becomes a man. Now, Jay, you know that we also associated as kids. You know, they call a boy a kid.
Hmm.
And a kid, if you think about age range, that's probably I went to saying from birth to 12 years old. That's a kid. And then we have another area that associate with us, our gender, as boy.
Hmm.
Now, boy is probably from 12 to 16. And I'm not saying I'm politically correct or in any way, but I'm just giving you some ideas and ages on how I felt when I was these things. And then a young man, 16 to 22. And then I said a man from 35 and on. Now, between 22 and 35, I left that gap there because I think I left that room for growth.
Hmm.
Uh, a area of expanding to become a man. But Jay, in our day in society, if you call a boy from 12 to 16, he already want to be associated with a young man.
Right.
If you call a young man between 16 and 22, he already wants to be a man. But he hadn't fulfilled any of those obligations. He hadn't matured. He hadn't exhibited any kind of skill of being either one of these associations that come with being a heterosexual. or a male. So somewhere in there we have a breakdown of educating the males in this world that it's okay to be a kid, it's okay to be a boy, it's okay to be a young man, because in order to become a man, you have to be able to fulfill all three of those steps in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to mature into a man. If you
Right.
take the kid, the boy, the young man out of it, now when you become a man, you are really still a child in your way of thinking, because you have not let yourself develop through these stages.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's why I think it's so easy for the example you use this dinner about its change. Somewhere in there, I think he didn't get this,
Right.
and so now he thinks he can become something that he really isn't, because he didn't get the structure in his life. He wasn't explained or showed the proper example what it meant to be a kid, a boy, or a young man. So, and I'm not saying I'm right, but something somehow caused this man to think that he was a woman, and caused him to take the step to become a woman now. And what is he about? 50 something now, Jay?
Well, you know what? Uh,
He's about
does
our
some
age, or a couple years older than us.
right? Yeah,
He's
yeah. He's
old.
about our age. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
but I will say, yeah, you're right. Something did cause that, and a lot of times, what really causes that is really hard truth not being shared. But I say hard when I say
okay.
hard truth, there's not being shared. There's you have um, you have people that surrounds them that 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 ex, exploit um, feminine ways around them. That's in other words, there are some boys that are raised by their mothers, and they don't see a man image in their life until they may not ever see a man image. In the important, when I say the important years
Yeah,
of a young male, a kid, a young male who's a kid between the ages of birth and about 6 or 7 years old are the most important
okay.
years for a young boy, a young male, um,
Uh-huh.
to experience and see a manly image in front of them. Not just a male, but a manly image in front of them. Because you can have gay males around this 4, 5, 6, 7 year old. That doesn't mean that they're seeing a man. They're just seeing a male who's in a gay portrayal. So that's not exemplifying a man. Um,
That's
so
true. That's true.
uh, and you know, and probably gonna get a call in on this one, but I mean, yeah, most gay males portray a some distinction of feminine ways. Um, so rather than manly ways. I mean, you're still a male, so nothing's taking that away. So I'm not going to say ways of a male because they're male,
Yeah,
presenting feminine ways or ways of a
yeah.
woman. So, um, so
Well, it's
yeah,
just like that. It's just like JFM. And I'm going to kind of go back to what you were saying. Um, and again, the challenges of raising a boy into a man. Okay. Um, if a boy is growing up and I'm going to go back to you with the birth to 6, but I'm going to scale it down, and I'm going to say 7 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the little boy gets into a fight. Well, the mother gets outraged and she throws a tantrum about her little boy fighting. And she attacks the female of the opposite boy, of the father, and and she's just very upset that her little boy got in a fight with another little boy, not understanding that that's part of becoming a young man is defending yourself and protecting yourself. And then she forgets if she doesn't handle that correctly, then she tells her little 7 to 12-year-old boy somewhere in there, if she's a single parent, you're the man of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to protect mama.
Mm-hmm.
Now the little boy's confused because how do I protect mama if mama don't let me fight, don't let me learn how to defend myself? How can I defend mama?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've seen that a lot of times, and little boys get confused in that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so the mother is almost teaching the little boy to be passive and
Mm-hmm.
submissive
Mm-hmm.
when he's coming up and handling things. And that's not in our nature.
Mm-hmm.
Our nature is to battle, is to wrestle, is to conquer and
Mm-hmm.
overcome. So, I agree with you about that because if we take that away from the kid and the young man, and the kid and the boy, then by the time he comes a young man, he don't know what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to act.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so there's a breakdown there, and that character of that young boy is now, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a 12-year-old and a 12-year-old get in a fight, the one that was raised improper, instead of defending himself, he tucks a tail and runs back home and crawls into mama's arms and say, "Mama, this boy hit me." And then she embraces him with a motherly love, and now here comes the stage of passionism coming in,
Mm-hmm.
feminism coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And he don't need that. He needs to be shook and say, "You get back out there and you defend yourself."
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes it hard to, and that's challenging in our society of raising a boy to be a man.
Right. I like the exact words that you said, but as advisement to a mother, to that would be talking to her son, and he came home after being hit and beat up, crying, instead of just cutting it up with them, and I mean, you can still show some passion and compassion. However, promoting the manhood in it, as you said, get back out there and protect. You said protect, not get back out there and go fight and and go jump on somebody, get even with somebody, go have vengeance with
Yeah,
somebody. There's a difference. Get out there and protect. In other words,
yeah,
don't you run if somebody come. Yeah, try to avoid the fight, but if they gonna come out, stand up like a man and because the fight for your protection is a different thing. Stand up and fight for your
yeah,
protection. Uh, don't
yeah,
don't cower it out. Try to avoid the fight. But if there's nothing,
yeah,
because the one thing, if you really watch and I love watching movies and documentaries and shows about Indians and their rites of
yeah,
passage into manhood and all that. Man, they take
yeah.
their little boys through a whole lot, man. And they you have to those little boys have to endure that. I mean, they take them in the woods, and they got to learn how to survive and all that stuff, man. And they can't be no wimpy wimps, man. uh, you know, so the learning how to stand as a man, Because what do a lot of women, many women tend to make this statement that they desire a man, not just a male, but a man who can be their protector. Uh, to
Right.
be their protector.
Right.
They want to feel safe in the
Yes.
arms of a man. Just because you all buffed and everything, and they, yeah, that does that mean that you some woman's protector. Uh, they want to feel that and when they say safe, it's not just about fighting a physical fight for them. It's about anything that comes up, but feel responsibility, feeling safe about a lot of things, being a responsible person. If sometimes in people's lives disasters happen, uh, let's say, even if a job is lost, can they feel safe that you're going to just not wimp out and stand up and be a man and do your best? I mean, that's all you can do, is do your best to go try to find a job. Sometimes you might have to swallow. A real man will swallow their pride, and if they have to, and swallow the pride, and if it comes down to it, to protect the family, to save the family, mainly starting with the wife, uh, to protect and save the family, will go take a job that's paying lower than what they had. I mean, they lost a job,
Yes.
but all they could think, rather
Yes.
than to be so concerned that I ain't gonna work unless I can get the same amount of money, while your whole family and everybody is sinking and going down. You're a protector, and you go out and you take a lower paying job so that your family is protected. Now those are one of the actions of a man. Mm.
And when you shared that, Jay, you also made me think about another side of what you just shared. You said that a man, if he loses a job, another way of protecting, not just fighting, but to show his family that they're secure with him and that he's going to protect them, is if he have to get another job that pays less, that he's willing to do so. And now on the other end, and I think you agree with me in association with this, the woman can't demean the man for taking a job less as well,
Hmm.
because the boy sees that. Man, well, dad's got a job. Why is mama dogging him out? Why is mom talking about him like that? So then he gets the feeling like, well, there's nothing my dad can do to be a man. My mom is disappointed with my dad, even though he went out and got a job that pays less. Now the woman is in effect on the boy being part of the challenges of raising a boy into a man,
Hmm.
because she's not respecting her man for making a wise choice, as you said, Jay, to
Hmm.
take a job and less.
Right.
So now that affects the boy.
Right. Hmm.
And I think that's going on in our society, that's making it a challenge for us to raise a boy into a
Right.
man to raise a boy into a man, and a woman to raise a boy into a man with a husband
Right.
or without herself, if she even not respect her boyfriend, who, like you said, have to take a job to spend that. We have to be very sensitive in what we do and say in our relationship around our
Right.
children, because our children looks at us and they read our emotions,
Hmm.
our characters,
Right.
and our action.
Hmm.
And those three words, Jay, can cause the challenges of not being able to raise a boy into a man.
Right. Right. I agree with you. I agree with you. We have all kinds of situations and where boys are not being led and directed into being a man in today's society. As a matter of fact, um, yeah, we have the problem with gang violence rising, and it's not just the older people above 25. That's the it's now in high school gangs. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, the high school gangs are really just as violent as the old folk gangs. Old school gangs, I
Oh
should
yeah.
put it. And because here last month in our city, we had we had 5 people. I think it was 5 or 6 kids. One had just graduated, uh, uh, just finished his graduation, and the next day got killed, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, just got killed.
Mm,
Just graduated,
mm,
did his graduation
mm.
ceremony, and the next day he got killed from gang violence. Um,
Did
so,
they
but
say? Did they say what they think led to it?
um, not yet, not yet. No,
Okay.
but um, the thing of it is, you have kids and also old school. When I say old school, I'm talking about older folk over 30, 35. You know, who really believe or have some concept to believe that a gun in your hand makes you a man. Because you
Oh
handle,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Um, we went from at least back in the old days. And I say old days, man. I'm talking even even just as much as 25 years ago. But old days, you know, it, it, things even in balance, even the balance that was out there, it was that um, somebody came up on you, you would stand and fight, actually fight. At least folks still were living, you know, still was
Yeah.
living. Maybe so every now and then you hear somebody getting killed with a knife, but you had much better chance of living than trying to deal with somebody
Yeah.
with a gun.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. You know that comes, Jeffrey, to back to where the word chivalry.
hmm
You know, there is no more chivalry in our character in our day in our society today. Uh, to where when I use the word chivalry, that's used as something that a young boy wants to extol and to have and to act in because the young lady will see that, the young lady will see that he has good character, he has good understanding skills, he know how to avoid confrontation, but if you can't avoid confrontation, you can still stand as a man as well. That old saying, chivalry is dead. And I think that word and what that word represents into our society also affect men from becoming young men becoming men, boys becoming young men and young men become men. Because, it's like you said, Jay, everybody wants to, as soon as something said, something offensive or abrasive, the first thing we want to do, we want to reach for the gun
hmm
instead of saying, you know what, I don't like it, put your nuts up. We're
Yep.
going to settle this right now, put your nuts up. You know, and like you said, you live another day when you put your nuts up. You survive from a knife wound, but very seldom do you survive from a gunshot.
Yeah.
There's no chivalry in pulling a gun, shooting somebody.
Right.
But it don't take much to be a man to pull a trigger.
Right.
It takes a lot to be a man to stand up and say, look, let's fight this out. Let's
Mm.
just knock it down man to man. Your chances of getting up and going home are good.
Mm.
You get to wear a black eye for a week,
Yeah.
a bloody nose.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, Jay, I think that's one of the challenges that we are facing with our youth today. I like to use an example, and this is a great topic. And You had said something earlier that made me think about sharing this about my son Walt and my daughter Ada. When they was in elementary school, I think somewhere in the third, fourth grade, my son, every time he got into a fight or a confrontation on the school grounds, my daughter would take up arms and defend him and beat up the little boys. And I get called from the school and the teacher saying, well, Mr. Horton, Ida's in trouble again. And I go, well, what's wrong? She's fighting. So Ida, she come home and I go, honey, what's going on? Why are you fighting? Honey, you can't do that. You need to stop that. I get a call again. Ida, honey, you got to quit doing that. That's just not ladylike. Well, about the third time, I wasn't so complex that I already got to a point to where this is just the norm. I listened more. So when I said, Ada, honey, you just can't be going to school fighting. Honey, what's going on? So now this is me growing, even as a man raised my kids. I began to ask the question. The first two times, I was just exasperated. I was frustrated.
Mm.
I wanted to work, and I wouldn't much emphasis in really the whole circumstance. So I said, what's going on? She said, well, Dad, I was fighting for Walt. I said, you was fighting for Walt? Yeah, Daddy. He's not protecting himself. When the little boys pushed him and hit on him, he started crying. And I'm just protecting my brother. So I said, wow, man, okay. Well, you know what, I apologize to you. That's a good thing he was doing. Okay, and I said, all right, well, you going on. So now as a man, I got to think, what is it that I didn't do for my son that my daughter caught on to? That she's protecting herself. Not only that, her brother. So I had to go back, step back, and I said, son, we need to talk. And he said, what, Dad? I said, it's been brought to my attention that I was getting in trouble in school, and it's because you're not defending yourself. You're not protecting yourself. And I said, son, you are your sister's brother. You are a big brother. You need to be protecting her. How are these little boys going to look at you when you grow up into a young man and you don't do this? I said, it's kind of backwards. I said, you need to start protecting her and standing up for yourself, because you are going to be a young man one day. And a man, and you're going to have somebody you care about that you have to defend, not just your sister. Well, it didn't turn out good, but it did solve the problem. The next call I got, Mr. Horton, Walt was fighting today. So I'm like, oh, really he was? She, yeah, man, that's great, but I'm sorry. Okay, what happened? Well, a little boy pushed his sister, and he hit the little boy. I said, you know what? I'll talk to him. And she said, okay, Miss Horton. Man, when my son come home, I wrestled with him. I said, man, that was good. That was great, man. That was awesome. You protect your sister. And he said, yeah, Dad, that felt good. We got to do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was a long story, but to the viewers, we have to do more of that. I was able, and I was presented an opportunity to help my kid, my boy, turn into a young man or a young boy. And now he's a heck of a man. Mm-hmm. But if I hadn't have been able to do that, it could have turned. And I wouldn't be saying this about him. Mm-hmm. So we have to let the young men grow up and defend, protect, and support not only themselves, but their little sister, the moms, and even one day, their daddies, Jeff. Mm-hmm. My son stood up for me about 3 years ago when I had a confrontation with my daughter's boyfriend. And he told the boy, he said, look, that's my dad. You ain't got to worry about my dad doing something to you. I'm coming. I'm going to do something to you. And man, ladies, mothers, I was proud of him, you know, and that's what we have to have. Now, he didn't do anything bad, and, but the point that he was ready to defend his father showed me that he had matured into a man, a young man, because he said, my father is old, and he ain't going to, I will fight his battle. Now, he didn't, but he spoke up to the young man, and the young man backed down. Sometimes if you let your boy mature to a young man and a man, he don't have to get a gun. He don't have to get a knife. Mm-hmm. He can speak with boldness, and that's good enough. And I just want to share that, Jeff. I know I kind of went off for a minute, but I mean, whenever I can share something that I've experienced in my life, I try to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah, I admire that story. And that story is really good. Hopefully, just like any other topic or conversation we have on the J Talk show, hopefully it will inspire and help someone. Now, somebody may have come in on the tail end or just signed in to listen to the show and check out the show. Also, I want to plug in. The call-in number is 931-220-7063. But if you just came in and you were listening to what Ricky Rick was just sharing on the testimony, and now you may have heard it as if he's promoting fighting, but he's not promoting fighting. He's promoting self-defense. There's a difference. Promoting how to stand up and self-defend yourself instead of running away. Now, he's not promoting violence. Sometimes in being self-defending yourself, it does involve violence, because it's not that you yourself sought for the violence. It's that you have no choice but sometimes in your defense to counteract with the violence. The violence has been brought to you. So Ricky Rick is not. I'm just laying out some of these clauses. Ricky Rick wasn't promoting violence, wasn't promoting vengeance and all that. Those that may have signed on a little late and just came in. So I wanted to make sure our audience really understood that because sometimes I believe in very, very good clarity. Because when you leave some things hanging, folk will run off and they'll say things that's not what it really is. And so this show does not promote violence. We try to find all types of ways to actually eliminate violence in all types of relationships. As we said in the show, we don't only just talk about couple relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. We talk about any connection with another person involves some type of relationship. When you come in contact with another person, even if it's a stranger you never met before, you have established some kind of relationship. So that's what we talk about, a number of relationships. And getting back to the show, once again, 931-220-7063 is our call-in number. If you want to take part in this conversation and put your voice in, we most glad would love to hear from you. But as you were saying, Rick, yeah, I can recall back in my days when we were young, and I was a kid. Now my mom, she let me play baseball, she let me play basketball, and but I sure wanted to play football, man. I wanted to get out there, hit some folk and all that. And but see, she just wouldn't understand and accept that here I am going around with bullies, some of the bullies in school playing football, and if we talking about no protection, no helmet, they were out to kill us, boy. And yeah, the kind that when they tackle you, they kick you. Now, if I could play that, could get up and still live from that, well, I was like, Mama, why can't I play football? No, you might get hurt. You might. No, you can't. I'm like, Mama, but I'm playing rougher football than what they play in the school. At least they got referees, they got mouthpieces, they got helmets. I was like, so. But yeah, my mom would not play it. She just felt it was too rough. And yes, and sometimes letting your boys go through some of the roughness does kind of shake up the little feathers of being of manhood. They learn how to take it. They how to get how to go at it, and the aggressiveness and all that. Now, there's also important to teach balance. Yes, balance, because sometimes you can learn how to be too aggressive. I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that can say hallelujah to that one. Some men are too aggressive. The way they make their passes at women, and coming on to women is too aggressive. So men, you need men, boys, those that are trying to be men, or maybe I should say all males. Uh, Really make a big, strong effort to get a balance on your aggression, and as Ecclesiastes says, there's a time for everything. So there's a time to be aggressive, and then there's a time to chill out. All right. So but yeah, the boys we have today are not experiencing as much love these days. So there was that book that was written, Men Cry in the Dark. There was that book. There was a couple other books. And when I first heard about the book, I had not. I actually saw the play and the movie before I actually read the book, which the play and the movie is totally different from the book. It really is. But when I finally got a chance to really, when I first heard about the book, the first thing came to my mind was most men do not cry in the public and out loud, mostly because I think society don't really realize the conditioning that most boys go through as they're raised up. They're taught, they're jumped on and taught and beaten up on, verbally beaten up on, to don't cry. You know, yeah, you're a little man, or you're a boy. You ain't supposed to cry. You need to shut it up, pipe it up. Don't let me catch you crying. So that we are mentally, and I'll say we are collaboratively, mentally directed into growing up with an ideology that we men do not cry. All right, if you cry, you're not a man. All right,
right.
And so the females nowadays, we tend to wonder, well, why do they hold it in? Why can't they talk? Why can't a man express themselves? Well, that's the reason why. Because they have been They have been guided, directed, not only by other males, but by females, the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, and all that participated as they grew up. Don't you dare cry. Because when you cry, crying is an expression of outburst that you form. It's just one of the ways that you let out all that you've been holding inside, and
Yeah.
you know, and which most of the time is related to some type of pain, whether
Yeah.
physical or emotional. So men have learned, or males have learned, how to just hold it in, and not share their cry, whether it was
Mhm.
from physical. Now they may yell, but they won't cry.
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they could get a broke arm. They'll yell and they'll cry with words, but they won't shed no
Yeah.
tears.
They won't see me again.
No, they won't shed no tears. Yeah. But so women, I'm trying to share this with you. If you're having problems communicating with your male partner, your male husband, um, and you wonder why is it so hard for males to express themselves. That's one of the psychological reasons, one of the main psychological reasons, because males have been taught to hold it in, to hold it
Mhm.
in, and deal with it on their own. All
And
right.
it makes it hard for a male, like you say, Jay, to
Mm-hmm.
because if you can't express pain
Mm-hmm.
and anguish,
Mm-hmm.
then and with crying,
Mm-hmm.
exfoliating from the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
then how are you going to be able to express love to a young lady that you care about?
Mm-hmm.
So now you got this term where we come up in our society. Oh, I'm hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
being hard is taking a lot out of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Being hard is not being able to express kindness, uh, appreciation.
Yeah.
Uh, Being hard makes you go to the gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, being hard causes you to have conflict with other people, male or female. Uh, Being hard causes you a conflict in your job because the boss don't know how to approach you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so you're right, Jay. We're taught not to cry as
Mm-hmm.
men, and I'm gonna go deeper. If you cry, you're a sissy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you cry, you're a punk.
Yeah.
If you cry, So we get these disassociations. Uh, we get these. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Disconnection
Uh-huh.
with our emotions,
Yeah.
and we get other things put in to describe our emotions that are not true. Just because a young man cries, it doesn't mean he's a sissy. It means he's hurting. He's upset.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not that he's a sissy or punk. Not that he's weak. It does not mean that he's weak. I've cried in certain times of my life, and it caused me not to beat up somebody
Mm-hmm.
or hurt somebody because I cried. You know, uh, and I've cried to show somebody affection that I love them. My son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most viewers probably don't think I'm going to say my wife or my daughter. I cried to let my son know how much I love him.
Mm-hmm.
And because I cried, he said, Dad, man, you really do love me, don't you? Yes, I do, sir. So we need to reverse that teaching, as Jay, you was saying about telling the boys not to cry. Crying is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
My son told me for my birthday that I am the best dad that he could ever have,
All
and
right.
that I am
All right.
awesome,
All
and
right.
that I've been there for him, and I've taught him how to love his kids, his girlfriend, and it's okay to show compassion and emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dad, I've seen you cry. I've seen you cry in church. I've seen you cry because you love me. I've seen you cry because you had to whoop me. And
All right. Mm-hmm.
and that and good, that's honest, frank, correct. Because it hurts me as a dad to whip my child. So I
Mm-hmm.
cry sometimes.
Right.
So you're right, Jay. We have to take a different approach on this crime matter. I think you kind of hit the tip of the iceberg on this topic, the challenges of raising a boy into a man. When you brought up the example about we telling our young boys, don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
No, we need to tell them, cry.
Mm-hmm.
Let it out. Because
Yeah.
it's going to teach you how to love.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to teach you how to control your anger.
Mm-hmm.
If a boy never cries, then where's all that anger going, Jay?
Punching some woman out.
And that's not good, Jay. That's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that across because we can talk about that on another show.
Yeah.
Because we need to quit telling our boys not to cry.
Yeah. 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 We if you notice, we don't really jump on the little girls about crying. Yeah, but the little boys, now you hush up, you a little boy. And you know what?
Yeah.
And I just wonder, because I haven't really studied the statistics on it, but it's just a thought. I just wonder. Based upon that, as you were saying, they get called sissies. You go punk. Only little punks cry and all that. So I'm just wondering if a little boy, when he's told this, and he wants to cry, and he's desiring to cry, and because he's been forced to hold it in and not display, could it be that some of the males that are gay and then going into transgenders and transsexualism, such as Bruce Jenner, I haven't heard his story, but I'm just wondering that, as an outlet, because they were forced to hold it in, forced to not be able to express crying. So they looked over, they see their little sister, or they look over, they see their cousin, or see other little girls who are able to express freely through their crying. So they say, you remember I said earlier, they looking at others, what the others have, and desiring so maybe they looked at them and they said, I want to be able to cry. And so the only way I could be able to cry, I gotta change into a feminine position so that I can cry. So if I'm called a punk, I may as well go ahead and change over and be a punk. If I'm a sissy, I may as well change over. If I cry, to change over and be a sissy. At least they can allegedly call me the right phrase, because that's what I'm acting in, so that I can cry.
You know what? You need to check on that because you may have something like Jeffrey. I didn't think about that. That leaves a scar on the young man, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really does. And I wonder if statistically, have that been raised as a question, or have somebody, discussed it or wrote something on it? Because, what my grandmother never told me not to cry. And Mother Jerkins and Pastor Jerkins never told me not to cry. I don't think we were ever put in a position to have to cry. I don't think as defending ourselves, we was put in a position on not knowing how to defend ourselves. But then everybody's not raised in a family setting as we were, and raised in a Christian home and understood the things that you and I are trying to talk about and and reach out to our viewers in talking about the challenges of raising a boy into a man. Uh, we just kind of knew. We kind of understood how to handle abusiveness or meanness or peer pressure. Uh,
Right.
because for a fact, I don't think we dealt with that. Did we did? We didn't deal with. We did, but it wasn't a problem for us because we weren't told these negative things that we're discussing in the show today.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a time that kind of language was ever used in our present. In our present, don't cry. The word, or you're gonna be a sissy or punk, or I don't even think we was told had to be talked about defending ourselves and how to
Mm-hmm.
do it. We just knew because of the presence of authority, maturity,
Mm-hmm.
and motherhood,
Mm.
fatherhood, and parenthood. And so, yeah, that's Jay. That's deep. Uh, there's a lot of young men out there trying to figure out how do I deal with these emotions because I've been taught to suppress them all my life.
Right.
That's
Because when you listen to them, that's one of the things they tend to say.
yeah,
I'm in touch with my emotional side.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so a male can be a man and still be in touch with their emotional side. I mean,
yeah,
to one of the things we have to really get these myths. There's so many myths that people have that they are expounded and acted on, and I know I'm hitting a lot on the gay society, but I may get a call. I don't know, but
yeah.
um, here we real talk on this show, real talk
Real
and
talk,
real
real
open
talk.
conversation. So,
Yeah,
um, I have listened to gay partners, male and female gay partners who and I listened to some of the reasons. I would ask them, say, well, why did you leave from being a heterosexual and get yourself a same sex partner? Is it because you couldn't find a relationship with the opposite sex? And and I would hear this a lot. Not everybody said it, but this was on a
right,
high
right.
percentage. You would hear this. Oh, I'm. The women would say the women would say, "Oh, I'm tired of men and their games and all that and blah blah blah." I'm with the woman because she's a woman. She can feel me. She's in touch with the compassion and all that. And what other person could know a woman better than a woman? Um, well,
Yeah, I've
all
heard that.
right.
Heard that.
And then I hear the men be saying pretty much the same thing. Oh, I'm tired of the
Yeah,
of women because they complain and all that, and they get on your nerves and they want to control you and all that. I mean, so I want to I just want to be with with masculinity because we think alike and all that. And it always comes down to that thinking alike. But however,
right.
it's still thinking alike and trying to get away from the opposite sex because of the problems that they list. Um, and then so I would tend to ask. I would ask them. I was sitting and ask with them. I'm not intimidated by the gay society. I know who I am. I'm totally heterosexual, infinitely heterosexual. But I'm not intimidated by anybody. Some people can't even be nowhere close to anybody who is functioning in the gay society. Um, and but that sometimes I would say that person is either weak or don't know who they am. I know exactly who I am. As I said, so I'm not intimidated. So
Right.
I'll sit
Yeah.
right in the mid.
Yeah.
I will sit right in the middle of them and have a conversation because I'm always curious what people are thinking and how they think. So I would ask them this question, this follow up question, such as. Well, if you're saying that you don't mess with the opposite sex because of all the issues, dramas, and all that, so you figure it's so much easier and stuff with the same sex because they are the same sex, and you tend to, quote unquote, would think alike. Well, as soon as I would ask them, what kind of do y'all have any issues, problems, and stuff in your relationship? And I came to find out, well, the folk still be cheating on each other with
Yeah.
another same sex. And well, the
Yeah.
woman part to be cheating on with another male part to be cheating with
Yeah.
another male partner. And they still
Yeah.
cheat. They still lie. They still have attitudes. Somebody still trying to be in power and control. They still have
Yeah.
differences. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
hear anything come out that was no different than
No.
just than staying a heterosexual and dealing with the opposite sex, because now they say that's the reason why they went into it. Now, could it be since since all the same symptoms that they say and all the issues they claim to get away from the opposite sex exist? Could it be that they just lying to themselves?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. That's what I believe, Jay. I think that, you know, number one, first of all,
Mhm.
uh, I want to say that to the viewers. I know we've kind of went into the topic of uh, gay marriage and man being with man and woman being with woman. Uh, but I think this topic has to go that way
Mhm.
because I think the reason why this topic is so prevalent is because of the way we're raising our boys
Mhm.
and the way we're raising our girls. We are pushing them
Mhm.
to the direction that Jay just spoke about because we're telling them to suppress your emotion, suppress your actions. Uh, don't be a boy. Don't be tough. Be aggressive and be. Uh, uh, and we say things to the little boy. Oh, he's sweet. And you heard this in Jeffrey. Oh, he's cute. You know. And they used to try to call my boy cute. And I go, don't call my boy cute. You call him handsome.
Mhm.
Don't call him cute. Because he grow up and you call him cute, and then he thinks he's cute and not handsome and not understand. That's the emotion.
Mhm.
That word is an emotional word.
Right.
That word is gonna affect him,
Mhm.
you know. So the first time a boy or a man calls him cute, how do he act to that?
Mhm.
He should say, man, I ain't cute. I may be handsome, but I ain't cute. Now he's manning up. He's protecting his gender. You know, so uh, we
Right.
have to be careful,
Right.
you know, with our word association with our young men today.
Right.
You know, uh, and this topic is very touchy because me and Jay, we, you know, being men of God and being in the servitude of God and understanding where this all fit in our spiritual life and our physical life as well. We're gonna love everybody. We don't hate anybody. We have to love everybody. Uh, the Bible tells us, you know, accept and move and act and everything with love.
Right. Mhm.
Uh, but at the same time, we have to let you really, really just understand that the challenges that I had raising my boy into a man, uh, I had to keep him close to me, and I had to talk to him as a man. I had to rough out some kind of like a man. And I had to let him know that what his responsibilities would be once he became a man or a young man. And he had the girlfriend, and he had
Right.
the fiance, and he had the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't going to be able to be that man being cute
Right.
and suppressing his feelings and not fighting and not
Mm-hmm.
defending himself, whether it be with words or with the fist.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be raised to know what it was to be a man. He my little boy Jay, and I'm not gonna get too cut off into this, but these women and the men need to understand this. The proudest moment in my life, raising my little boy, was to look back and watch him walk in my footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Son, what are you doing? Walking in your footsteps, Dad?" Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But my son, I tell you, my dad is the nicest man in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll give you the shirt off his back. But if you put him in a corner, he's
Mm-hmm.
coming out. And that's the kind of mentality we have to have with our boys.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, like Jay said, we're not promoting violence. We're not telling you to teach your little boy to fight and to beat up nobody. What we're telling you is he has to learn the character of a heterosexual, of a man. And that does not represent him being cute
Mm-hmm. Right.
and being sweet
Mm-hmm.
and being a little dumb.
Right.
We have to watch our word association. So yeah, and I'm a step off there because this is an awesome topic.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna save our men, our young black men, we have to start viewing these things and understanding word association and emotions that we're causing our young black men to suppress.
Right.
And I'll let you take off from there, Jay, because this topic is it's getting ready. It's heating up.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It
This
really is.
this is
It's
our
an
fire.
awesome topic.
Yeah, this is our firecracker month. We got hot topics this month. Uh, all right.
Oh man.
So yeah, I agree with you, Rick, and but there are many other areas of dealing with boys and men. And you're right. Words are powerful. Words are very, very powerful. They're powerful in all associations, in your relationship, in your business, in your work, which is still a relationship. I mean, like I said again,
Yeah.
there are all types of relationships. So words are powerful in your relationships. No matter what kind it is, they're still powerful. And saying the wrong stuff will promote a direction in that relationship of what you may not desire for that direction to take place. It's like if you on a business relationship, you say something in within the wrong context, or use words that could have been better words. You promote a direction of where other people are going to perceive it, and then come up with a summary of what they. I mean, you can say whatever you want to. You know what you're meaning to say, but the perception on someone else's, coming from someone else's mind through their ears, may come. Their summary may be totally different from what you would be saying, and so they see a total different picture. And that's the same way with any kind of relationship. So and I try to keep from having to be so interjection. Not saying that I'm hiding biblical scriptures or anything, but I'm just saying that I'm just trying to talk more morally with those who, some people tend to turn away. They think you're being preached to, when you say the Bible this, the Bible that. But there are some ways you can say. That's what here again. Choice of words. You can say some things to people, and I guess I'll go to church on y'all right now. But even in church folk. I mean, y'all need to listen up. We can go to folk and we call ourselves trying to help somebody, and then what you want to do is preach to them all the time. You want to say, the Bible says this and the Bible says this, and many times folk already know what the Bible says, even if they haven't been in church. They already pretty much already have a pretty good sense of what the Bible is saying, or what its meaning, or what its purpose is. And so um uh and sometimes you can say the wrong, will bring up the wrong things in the wrong way, and it'll promote uh a summary within that person, and they will go into a direction uh totally different than what you're meaning for them or hoping for them to go in, because some folk can back away from you. They may passively say okay, and to which, just to get you off their back, because they don't want to hear you saying it no more, like that. So, so the choice Bible says this, that we are to be choiceful. We're responsible for every word that utters out of our mouth. That means you have to be. You do have a responsibility to choose and try to your best ability. Choose the right language. Choose the right appropriate word to try to deliver the message or that you're trying to convey. It's not really as much the responsibility as the receiver to have to try to figure it out. But if you choose the right word, if you wise, such as going back to what you were saying, Rick, calling little boys sissies and gays and punks and all that, cute. So you're so darling. Those phrases do relate more to a feminine character or feminine portrayal. So so sometimes they may sound nice, but what the little boy summarizes is conditioned to is being cute, is being a darling. And then they hear little girls get called darling. You don't hear little girls say, "Oh, she's so handsome." You don't hear that.
No,
You don't hear that.
No.
Oh boy, boy, you don't hear those the words that are distinctively assessed to a male being said to a little girl. All right, but when you hear cute and darling, which are assessed to little girls, and they're assessed to a little boy, and then when the little boy begins to hear it being assessed to a little girl, you begin to set a presence of them relating to the little girl's atmosphere rather than their own individual. Yeah. So, psychology plays a lot, and you hit it on there, Rick, when you were saying that. So psychology plays a lot in the distinction of what we do. And if we allowed ourselves to be burdened down, well, I won't say burdened, allowed ourselves to be captivated by the traditional ways of life, that's what everybody else does. They say cute and darling and all that. Then Bible scripture tells us to change our ways. It challenges us to change our way of thinking, change our way of attitude, change our way of pattern. And that is how our society, because that is a topic. The challenges of raising boys into men in today's society. And today's society is really caught up in traditional patterns of how we act and do. I mean, that's in a whole lot of things, from our relationship with our girlfriends, our wives, our relationship with our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts. I mean, anybody who's feminine or the opposite sex of the male. So, we and also vice versa, the women with the men. So traditional values have really messed up a lot of distinctiveness that we could apply to our relationships that can help build better relationships, no matter what kind of relationship, business, family, father, mother, brother, sister, all any kind of combination, and that even goes as far as even sexual. Um, so,
Yeah.
but it's just how we deal and do our relations with it. But if you do it if you just take things casually without a conscience, um, I really do believe, based on a lot of statistics, you, that the outcome will be a direction that was not in the intention for it to take. And uh, I believe that's um, I don't know. I guess I probably should close out with that. Rick, you got anything else you want to say? Rick, you got anything else you want to say, Rick?
Now, what you think about this? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Jeremy? Jay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I just like to say, I would like with Sister Soldier and Lady K, if they're healthy and being able to be on the show this next Sunday, I'd open this topic back up
Mm-hmm.
and get some input from them because, Jay, this is an awesome topic that you brought to the forefront today. And we need to expound on it just a little bit more because you have raised a lot of great points as well as I that we really need to just I would like to just delve into this a little bit more. If not next Sunday, somewhere soon, because we need to really um, we just need to talk about this more.
All
This
right.
is an awesome topic.
All right.
Uh,
We will.
and yeah.
All right. We will. All right. We will make that a part two. Coming up in the month of
Yeah.
July. We
Yeah.
have a couple of hot topics. We see that this was pretty hot. We'll make this a part
Pretty
two,
hard.
folks. And y'all
Yeah.
be looking
Yeah.
out. We have coming back up by popular demand. Is there a need for a maintenance man or maintenance woman? Part two.
Yeah.
And what does it take to be a good lover? Oh boy.
Yeah.
We really want to hear
Oh,
what
yeah.
y'all got to say on that. All right. We don't want to be just the ones
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
All right. I don't know. We might do a giveaway on that day. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
yeah.
So yeah, it's the men hold it down tonight. It's Jay and Rick. We those that joined in and those that will be touching bases throughout any other period. You can always see the show on demand on our web. Talks today's relationships show .com. J Talks today's relationships.com. I'm sorry, folks. And you can also see us on Blog Talk Radio, the show, which is internet radio base. And soon we're working toward it. Soon you all will hear us across the lands on airwaves FM radio. All right. All righty.
All right. All right.
Okay, well,
All right.
well, that I guess that's all for tonight, and we're talking and seeing y'all next week, same time. All right, on the J Talks Today's
All
Relationship
right.
Show. All right, Rick, we out.
Revolution.